Hey everyone, this is Roland here. Welcome and thank you for being here. And what do you do when God's promises for your life seem unattainable, seem impossible, seem out of your reach? Well, this is what I want to talk about today. And for the answer, let's go to the story of Isaac and Rebekah, because God had joined them, and it is so clear that God had joined them. So Rebekah is about to go to Isaac, and as she's going, the family declares something over her. So let's go to Genesis 24, verse 60, where it says, "And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, 'Our sister, may you become thousands of 10,000s, and may your offspring possess the gate of those who hate him.'" Now, this promise was amazing. This prophecy was so powerful because Rebekah was barren, and the family surely had known this. And let's go to Genesis 25, verse 21 to read that. And it says, "And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord granted his prayer, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived." So it's very clear that her family knew very well that she was barren because they grew up with her. So this fact would not have been hidden from them. But look at the promise that they declare, that you become thousands of 10,000s, and may your offspring possess the gate of those who hate him. So first of all, I want to highlight how interesting that God joined these two together, Rebekah and Isaac, fully aware that Rebekah was barren. But I think he did this. Why? Because there's one important truth that we always need to grasp and remember, that God's promises are only attained by faith. And this is why I think he joined them. Because as we can see here, it says that Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was barren. They had to pray, they had to trust God, they had to endure and to hold on and persevere. It wasn't just a case of, because God could easily have given Isaac a woman who could bear children, but where was the glory in that? But God wanted to show himself strong. Remember, there is nothing impossible with God, nothing that is too hard for God. And this is why I believe he joined these two, because he had a purpose for them. And that again, that the promises for them had to be attained by faith. And even in your life, and again, Rebekah was barren, but look at the promise that was declared over her. And God, this is how God rolls. God doesn't give us things that are easy and beyond and within our reach that we can do in our own strength. So no matter what God has promised you, and yes, it may seem out of your reach, and it may seem impossible, it may seem unattainable, well, I want to encourage you to keep on trusting in God. Keep on holding on to his promise, knowing that he will come through for you. And I want to encourage you even more about the story. So we see that Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife, and she conceived, right? But there was a time that had to elapse, the time that had to take place. And we read that because if we go to, let's go to Genesis 25, verse 20, and it says, "And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean of Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Aramean, to be his wife." So when they came together, Isaac was 40 years old. And let's just say it took about a year before they tried to have children, right? But let's read another scripture, Genesis 25, verse 26. And it says, now when Rebekah is giving birth, and it says, "Afterward, his brother came out with his hand holding Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them." So Isaac is 60 years old when he had Esau and Jacob, okay? But he met Rebekah, they joined together when Isaac was 40 years old. So like I said, give or take a year before they started, they tried to have children. So it's about 19 to 20 years that this took place, where again it says, "And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was barren." And it took about 19 to 20 years where Isaac and Rebekah were trusting God for a child. Yes, she was barren, but they had promises from God. And they held on. They kept on trusting in God. They kept on praying to God in a space of 19 to 20 years. And that's what I want to encourage you as well, is to persevere even when the promise seems like it's not going to happen, even when it seems hard, even when it seems impossible, even when it seems untenable. Because remember again, God is the God of the impossible. Nothing is too hard for God. So whatever God has promised you, hold on to it and persevere in that, because it's not going to happen instantly. Like, you need to endure. And in that time, guess what? Their faith was being tested. Did they really trust God to come through? Yes, they did, because for 19 to 20 years, Isaac prayed. They kept on believing that God would fulfill his promise, that they would have a child, and they had 2 children. And we see God's faithfulness and goodness. Because again, it says, and the Lord granted his prayer, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Rebekah, who was barren. So that's my encouragement to you, that to keep on holding to God's promises, even when it seems impossible, even when it seems hard, even when it seems untenable. So with that, I've come to the end of this episode. I will see you next week, and God bless.